be speaking in a few minutes. We already know the results of the election, but we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of hope. It looks like here's some interesting inside info. It looks like Jagmeet will probably hold on to his riding, so your supporter, that's certainly good news. And that's some interesting inside info that I might have ahead of other people. So it looks like Jagmeet has held on to his riding, but we're here at NDP in an uncertain future. A lot of people should be proud today that they stood for a lot of things that a lot of progressives fell by the wayside. And they might have a stronger than expected turnout with their votes because they've been more progressive in a lot of the important issues than I think the Liberals have, than other people have. Hey, Becca, nice to have you. So we'll see if there's a sleeper vote for them tonight or not. Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well.
Good, thank you. You're very eloquent. I was wondering, no good deed goes unpunished. If I could interview you and just ask you how you're feeling tonight. I have a little independent YouTube, but like Jagmeet, I'm not Rebel News. I'm a fan of his. And so,
what outlet are you with?
Completely independent, so just Dodge Landesmith. Yeah, and I did a video. I saw his rally in Nanaimo and did a video in support, and just reminding a lot of people that there's been this effort to, I think, silence a lot of progressive voices, and for the health care that's been delivered, the dental care, the opposition to environmental destruction, that's been the NDP. So I wanted to come here to remind people and just ask you how you feeling today.
Yeah, I feel good. Obviously, as of right now, it's not the result that we've been hoping for. But, even if we have a smaller caucus, I think we're going to have a strong caucus. This is not the first time we've potentially lost party status back in 93, I think, with Alexa McDonough. I think, and after that, we bounced back really hard, right? So I think that even if we have a smaller caucus, NDP is still going to be a force in Parliament to be reckoned with. And I look forward to seeing some of our strongest MPs, especially here in BC. We have such a strong base. MPs like Jenny Kwan, Don Davies, Peter Julian, Jagmeet Singh as well, back in Parliament, back in action, holding the Liberals to account, whether it be in a majority government or a minority government, to hold them to account and to hold them to their promises.
Do you think that the Liberals have been as progressive as they should be, whether it be on the carbon tax, or will you still keep holding your feet to the fire on a number of issues? And is that important?
Yeah, for sure. I think the Liberals have sort of pivoted a lot towards the center. In fact, their economic platform in many instances is, I think, almost indistinguishable from the Conservative platform nowadays. Especially on the environmental front, Liberals, like Jagmeet said, they bought a pipeline, they built a pipeline, and I think especially on environmental issues, we really need to be talking about, doing things like building the East-West grid, but also investing more in renewable energy, which the Liberals have done a little bit of progress on, but not nearly enough. And I think that, they're very much right now driven by the need to be elected in. After they're voted in, we'll see sort of how their policies shape up. But, I think that it's important for progressive voices to be there to sort of push back against the right wing of the political party.
Well put. Another interesting thing that's interesting to observe is, would you like to see Jagmeet continue as leader? I would say, well, wouldn't you, if he brought dental care, if he, a lot of the progressive changes are not really the responsibility of the Liberals, but responsibility of NDP, and Singh kind of having a lot of integrity and knowing he can take a hit, but still being there. So would you like to see him continue, or just kind of waiting and seeing what might materialize in the future?
Yeah, I think it's it's a bit too early in the night to sort of see where things fall. But I like Jagmeet, but he's running 3 elections now. I think especially it depends on who gets elected, right? We're going to lose some of our star MPs, so when we're talking about potential leadership contenders, we have to see who. Yeah, we're going to have a smaller basket to pick from. So I think that we're going to have to figure that out first, and then go from there.
Well put. And the last question is, what issue is most important to you in this election?
Yeah, for me, the most important issue is housing. Cool. Affordable housing. I think we need to get the government back into the business of building housing. Since I think it was under Paul Martin, housing has been cut. Public funding for housing projects, I think, has been cut so significantly. So we've seen a buy-up of big developers buying up a lot of real estate in the housing market. That's driven up prices. So that's really important to me, especially as a young person. You know, I think that housing is probably the number one issue on my mind right now.
Glad you bring that up because there is some concern. Kearney's had some real estate development history too. So, well, you're very eloquent, just as eloquent with me as you are with the other way. So you're awesome. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you
I
so much.
appreciate it. And yeah, just don't forget what you're fighting for. I really admire
Yes.
you guys. And there's a fight to be had and a fight to be won. So
Yes.
keep up the good work.
For sure.
Thank you,
so
Kevin.
much.
No worries. Appreciate it. Hello, hello. Hey guys. Hey Nancy. Hey Style. Good to have you. So yeah, that'll be the big question as well. Jagmeet Singh able to remain leader. But I don't know, man, as like an American watching, I'm thinking like this guy delivered a lot of different stuff for people. And it wasn't the liberals that delivered on a lot of the progressive dreams and hopes. It was the NDP. So I don't, just watching this from an outside perspective, I don't think he did that badly. Maybe, that badly, I'm basing it on his history versus what happens tonight, right? But I don't know if what happens tonight should even matter that much, honestly. It was an uphill battle to begin with. And, Carney got excited, the election got called last minute. But don't forget if you're on the left, don't forget what has been fought for, So, thank you, Nancy, such a love and American coverage. It's been a lot of fun. And, I admire the heart of these people. I really do. And it's been great to get to know people of every different party. We have fun. Love American coverage. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. And as mentioned before, we'll hear Jagmeet speak as well. But it looks like, just looking at this, it looks like it's going to be quite of a liberal bloodbath. So I was pro to eat. I said conservatives might do better than expected. That's clearly not happening. But then, the election's been called. What's interesting is polls just closed in BC. I believe an hour after the election was already called. So there might be there might be some real support thinking, all right, well, we could go to NDP or we could go to Green because we already know the result. An independent perspective. I try to be independent. I do. Although I will say I'm the only person that's going to say this. I like Pierre and Jagmeet better than Carney. My opinion, never has an American had such interest in Canadian politics as Style. Thank you. With good reason. I've always been fascinated by Canada. I grew up in New York City, and my mom could tell me who the governor of New Jersey was, and never the premier of Ontario. To me, it's fascinating. It's like this whole alternate dimension. What if we never broke free from Great Britain? It would be Canada. Canada eventually did. But, it's interesting. People have such a deep understanding of the U.S., but then you just go slightly north and people don't. So it's always been a keen interest to me, which is why I wanted to be here. Glad you guys are here with me. All right, well, we'll try to find some other people to interview. We're just kind of chilling. I spoke to this guy earlier. So I might try to find him. Nobody out here. That's that interesting. As the vote gets counted across the country, it can change. I think a lot more people will vote NDP once they can breathe a sigh of relief. I think you'll see some success. So. Hey, now I'm filming, but no pressure. I can get your voice though, and not but no pressure either way. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm Dodge.
I'm Maxine.
Nice to meet you. I heard you moved from Pittsburgh.
No, I moved.
You moved? Oh, just you? Okay. But you're happy about it.
I'm a Surrey girl. Yes, I'm
Okay, so you're
very happy
Surrey.
about
Okay. I see. That makes sense.
There's a lot of intermediate history in here.
There is. There
It's
is.
a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Hopefully you're happy you made the move.
Oh,
You get
yeah.
a lot more spring. It's like getting a spring here.
Yep.
It's pretty nice.
It's gorgeous. It really
Yeah.
is.
Well, Max grew up in BC.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're born and raised.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Rarest
Okay.
of people in actual Surrey native. Vancouver
I love
native.
that.
Yeah.
What was it like even a few decades ago? Were half these buildings here, or is it all brand
We
new?
used to ride our horse.
No,
from
really?
Newton to Cloverdale.
That's wild.
We have-
That's impossible to imagine.
We had
That's too
13
cool.
horses at the time.
Wow.
Had a riding ring.
Wow.
Like a small hardwood farm.
Cool.
stuff like that.
Talking south of the Fraser River.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that'll be all high rises.
Not
Yeah.
much.
Rural, was
Right,
rural.
right. I was gonna
I
say
mean,
not
if you
anymore.
wanted to do your school shopping, you had to come over to New West to go to Army and Navy.
Okay,
Because Guilford wasn't even built then.
that's funny. You got nothing.
You know?
That's cool. A lot more open space.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Kind of nice.
Indeed.
Even Burnaby, I think, still has 2 or 3 farms.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Not anymore. But
Right. Okay. Well, back then.
85 when I moved up here.
Oh, interesting. It
there
was
were
just changing.
still a couple farms.
How much? Do you know what the percentage by how much it's grown in the past 20 years? It must be more than even most American cities, because
Yeah.
even to hear that is like, wow.
Yeah.
To even hear there's a farm in the 80s, I think it would be like dead and gone at that point.
Like Surrey especially has like grown astronomically compared to what it's been.
Yeah.
You know, because like we do grant funding for like with the arts count. I do something with the
Oh,
arts
really?
council.
Cool. Oh, awesome. My dad was chairman of in the U.S. chairman of the National Endowment for the Arts.
I
So
love it.
I appreciate the good work you're
Yeah.
doing.
No, do it.
Yeah. Rocco
Council
Landisman,
for-
very low level, but at least
Yeah.
because the U.S. doesn't give any money to the arts. But
No, they don't.
At least amongst the U.S.,
Not
you
this
try.
year. Not this
Right.
year either.
Right,
I worked
right.
In I worked in the 2 things that you never
Cool.
got funding for: healthcare
Ah,
and
bummer.
arts. It's the way it
You have a
was.
good heart, though. I appreciate you fighting for them.
It's all good. It's all good.
Is arts funding decent here at least? Are they?
We're not bad.
That's good.
As usual, it's the
Testament
first
to
thing
you.
that gets cut.
Yeah, always. Yep. That's the scary part.
You know,
Yeah.
it really is. I mean, we don't get what we used to get by any stretch,
Right.
but we make it work, and anything we got heart, we work with it. It's all good.
I admire that.
Yeah.
Doubled in the past.
What's that?
Population's doubled in the past
That's about right.
20 years maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably. No idea how
It-
accurate
it's
that is,
huge,
but
yeah.
at least
Right.
doubled, yeah.
That's big. We're testing my
We're going to outsource Vancouver by, they say, 2028.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Surrey,
Wow.
south of the
Yeah,
Fraser.
because Vancouver doesn't have anywhere farther to go, really. Only
Kind of
up.
boxed in.
We have got out and up. So,
Wow. They might get even more. Is that all just over? Is it a crime concern, or something, or is it all just building? It's just there's only so much room, I guess.
yeah,
Vancouver is stuck on the north.
yeah.
Right. Interesting. Right. Can't go in it. Right. Right.
They got the mountains. They can't go anywhere.
Right.
To the south, you have the stretch between the Fraser River and the U.S. border.
Yes.
And
Right.
that is still, was
Delta, I
15
guess.
years ago,
Yeah.
and is now, absorbing the population increase.
Right.
Vancouver, you can put up more high rises, but there's a limit to that. And really, Surrey is the place that the population is moving.
It always doesn't seem like right. And then on logistics, because it's so stunning. Like, it must be hard to build a city in the midst of all these mountains and these disconnected islands, and
Yeah.
the topography is a little logistically. It seems like more logistically challenging to
It
build
is
it than a lot of other
challenging. It's
places.
interesting,
Yeah. Just kind of recognize it.
Yeah.
Not disconnected. Okay, I mean,
Right. Well, they're all connected. They did a good job with that, with ferries and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of you can't walk from
No.
Nanaimo to
No.
No, Vancouver
No.
Island is its own.
Right, but it's its own animal.
thing,
Right,
yeah,
right.
Its own animal there.
Right.
But the greater Vancouver area.
Right.
Vancouver, there's.
Yeah, right. There are bridges now and a ton of stuff. Right. Right.
They're all well connected.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's
No, I think that's right.
not a lot of bridges, but enough.
Right.
to kind of keep everything.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how are you feeling about the election today? Are you glad you fought for what? And is there still a fight to be continued?
Oh yeah, totally.
Cool. I like it. So you won't stop.
No.
Respect.
Negatory.
Not gonna happen.
Gotta go for it.
Canada does need to get.
Yeah. Well,
I was saying earlier.
I was saying with the stereotypes that Canada's so much more progressive than the U.S. You look at the Liberal record, and it isn't necessarily that true at all. And that's why I kind of admire the NDP, because those are the progressives that Americans
right.
are thinking of.
Yeah.
Not the Liberal Party, which is the corporate wing of the U.S. Democratic Party in a lot of ways.
A lot of ways. Yeah, I mean, it's
A little more progressive.
Yeah. But it's behind the scenes of what the NDP has done, you know.
But and right, and every legislative accomplishment they've had on the progressive side, the NDP has been responsible for pushing them that way.
Exactly right.
Right. Which leads me to one last. I was asking you earlier. Would you? No pressure. If you want to wait and see. Would you? I think you should kind of. But would you want to see Jagmeet remain as leader? I felt like he brought all. Cool.
Totally.
I agree with you. I agree with you. He brought all of this stuff. And, you know, he had the integrity to even fall on his sword for the greater good for actual health care.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. So you'll be on his team.
Yeah.
Cool.
He was willing to look at things and say, we can make some progress.
Right.
We can actually get dental care, we can get the pharma care.
Right.
I'm not going to get, you know,
I have a lot of
Jagmeet
respect.
probably knew, he was never going to get the credit he deserved.
No.
No,
Right.
I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
do.
A lot of respect.
Me too.
Yeah.
It was just, I think it's a very tough environment. And, you know, he ran with energy. He didn't quit. I think he's even busier than the other two.
Yeah.
You know, he'd visit 3 or 4 places at once.
That's right.
So, yeah, I think in the future, at some point, there's going to be real disappointment.
Yeah.
And the mood of the U.S. is going more progressive and not wanting to compromise.
Yeah.
I think that's going to follow that fairly quickly. This is the Trump tariff stuff provided a completely different conversation. But once
totally.
that dies down, people will be missing and voting in the NDP. I guess the problem is for MPs, you have to wait for the next election. But I guess
That's right.
provincial-wide, you could do it. Yeah, so there. Right.
They're doing
So that's a
DC
while. And that's the fun part. I can't say what will you do up until the next election because you don't know when it's going to be.
That's right.
When's the earliest it could be? In a year, or could it even be?
Nominally, it's 5 years.
Right, that's the usual thing. Yeah,
Supposed to be
right.
I think for both province and federal.
Right, in October, I suppose.
It's
Yeah.
supposed to be a 5-year cycle.
Interesting.
Don't let me interrupt.
Oh, you're fine. I was just, that's some interesting,
interesting.
intelligent stuff to say. I'm from the U.S. and I have a little YouTube, so covering the election and.
Excellent.
You have a lot of insights. You too. So these guys are hardcore fighters.
You don't have to tell me that.
I don't think I do.
This woman is.
Join the club.
Thank you for the good work.
Join the
Thank you for the good work. They're that indispensable. I can see they're charmers too. They're good at the voters. I see that.
Very good.
Pretty easily.
Very good.
Yeah.
This woman can phone.
Oh yeah.
And this guy does stats.
Appreciate the work.
What's going on?
I think they're doing BC riding, so I think they're cheering when the BC ridings are going.
Hey, how are you? Dodge?
I gotta find my
You know, I just have an independent YouTuber from the U.S.
got my
I support
bike.
Jagmeet, so I did a video saying that there's a big sleeper vote. So I just kind of sauntered in here, but definitely support it. You can just search my name, Dodge Landisman, and the YouTube is just my name. So Dodge, like the car. I know, unfortunately, because it's like bare bones, but you'll be able to find me, and I can spell the first name for you, D-O-D-G-E. And then the last name is Landisman, L-A-N-D-E-S-M-A-N.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
No, it's just not doing too
I've been to every rally, but Jagmeet's the guy who I really like. But I wanted to cover every single rally, so I went to all 4 major candidates. And I also wanted to promote to people that there's been a bit of a silencing of third parties, and that if you believe in progressive issues, the NDP is kind of the way to go. So I want to broadcast that it isn't just a 2-party conversation, but that there's a party fighting for what progressives deeply believe in the fight as well. What's up? Democratic. Sometimes green, sometimes they compromise so significantly, and they become kind of corporate stooges that you got to go green. But if you usually when you have 2 to choose from, Democratic Party for sure. But I admire you guys what you're doing for sure. And I thought Jagmeet's by far the most energetic, charismatic. So I admire the fight. Yeah, so I used to work for a local TV news station, and I got fired for talking about the Scientology religion that Tom Cruise is a part of. But then I was able to get my own audience for speaking out against them. So that's how I was able to build my YouTube squad. That's how it started.
Out against Scientology.
Yeah, it was a truthful piece. And sorry if I accidentally spit on you, I apologize. It was a truthful piece, and I remarked that Lisa Marie Presley was going to testify against Danny Masterson. He was the actor in that 70s show who recently got found guilty for sexual assault and a lot worse. So I talked about that Lisa Marie Presley was going to testify. I'm still, yeah, I can. Okay, guys, that was interesting. We are back. All right, guys, we made it back. She's cool. It was very interesting. She was like, "Are you official media?" Understandably, she was like, "That's a little odd," and kind of gave me. It wasn't that bad. Just asked me a few questions. But we're back. Would you rather watch a tree grow? I'm not gonna. Vassy Pumpkin, you are blocked. Glad I didn't fall into that trap. You got a timeout. Well, we didn't miss anything, although I was asking. We're definitely not going to do that, Talking Pools. Bob Cox, I think your wish didn't really make it, unfortunately. But A for effort, eh? Hey, Zippy. Nice to have you. Take a hike. Surrey, slurry. Jeez. It's quite the comment.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Leroy, not cool at all. So anyway, hopefully you guys can still hear me. We are here. Hey, Danny. Nice to have you. How's your dog doing? How's life in San Diego? I'll be back at some point to cover all the election stuff. Supposed to get counter country, it can change. It can. And that's why there might be a few people that are more enthusiastic about looking at the NDP stuff and potentially voting for them. You don't know. So we will see. Try to interview some other people. If they're still there. And we'll find some others. I also want to be vigilant to not get any of the NDP people mad. Because they're letting me hang out here, so I appreciate that. Zia asked me a lot about my channel, and then did tell me that I achieved some respect. This is a lot more than the Nikki Haley people. So I admire that. Yeah. Good to see you, Dodge. Hey, Zippy. Been missing your lives. Can't believe I'm interested in this Canada election. This is somewhat interesting, isn't it? I think it's interesting there's just more players. You know, it's not really a well, it is a two-person race, but there's a lot of what progressives care about, of what they feel like is important to fight for, probably fight for in the future. And that's why you see a lot of cool hearts, even in the moment of defeat. You see a lot of good hearts and people that kind of want to fight for the most progressive issues. So you got to respect that. Looks like Canada said FTD, said FT. Oh, yes, FTD. I get that. In a lot of senses, they did. In a lot of senses, they did. But we'll try to interview somebody. It looks like a bit of a wash. I know. I gotta interview that gentleman. When he's done. Just fight against dictatorship and despotism. Well, you know, Trump was the main actor in this regard and the main catalyst, I think, for this. You know, what I would say is now a comfortable liberal victory. I don't know if they're expected to win a majority government or not, but they may very well. That's probably likely that they'll win it. That would be my guess. Yeah, that's why they're electing Pollier. They haven't elected. Oh, whoops, guys, I gotta get more speed. Hold on. Don't leave. All right, we're live again. I'm gonna go to some people. You see, you got the podium, so we'll be able to get a good view. Somebody just got, it looks like they're winning re-election. So that's the good news. So at least you got some people holding on to the NDP. The NDP at 10, I think, is better than they thought. So, you know what? They might have a surprisingly decent night. Ultimately. And then we'll wait for this gentleman to finish and we'll interview him. Wonder how many people, the 40 million people, actually vote. That's a good question. I think it was the highest turnout that they've had in a very, very long time. So, I think in that regard.
That's the question I got for you at this point. Anything else on that before I let you go? Everything done then?
Man, you're super eloquent. Do you mind if I piggyback? I appreciate your inspiring works. So how you feeling about tonight? You fought for a lot of good things. First, I gotta give you a lot of respect.
Yeah. I was door knocking until 6 o'clock.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's like,
whoa.
I don't even have butterflies, and I'm not like even nervous right now. I'm tired. And I'm just sort of spacey right now. So.
Wait. So you did 13 hours?
No, 12 to 6.
Still 6 hour intense day though.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
I did yesterday. I did the day before election day. I took Saturday off.
I don't blame
So
you.
I'm because I'm doing teardown tomorrow at the office as well.
Oh, okay.
So
You're not gonna
like,
quit.
Yeah. So and then then I'll rest for like a week. And
You deserve that. Were you helping the whole campaign season?
I think for the most part,
Good for you.
I was trying to, because I'm from Pitt Meadows, right? So I was trying to get in my writing just because.
Makes sense.
But there wasn't anything really happening in that writing, so I talked to Lisa Bear, and then she sent me, I didn't talk to Lisa Bear directly, but I talked to her office, and they said, well, he doesn't actually have an office, so you can't go to the office to talk to him. So they're like, okay, you got Peter Julian and you got Jagmeet, you can go to. And I'm like, well, I got to do the big campaign, right?
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm absolutely just I'll drive all the way out to Burnaby. I'll talk to them directly. And then
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a headache of a trip too.
Yeah.
Good for you. I used to do all that work all day for candidates, so I've been there. Not easy. What made you want to kind of give your heart? I mean, really giving your heart and soul in a real way. What made you want to do that?
Well, I mean, Jagmeet's like. I love Jack Layton, and historically I do reveal Tommy Douglas is one of the greatest Canadians of all time.
Yeah.
But Jagmeet is he was the first politician that I know of. There might be some in Europe or wherever, but that I know of anyways that actually talk about mental health, not just physical health but mental health. So when I was younger, I dealt with a lot of depression, and I still deal with anxiety, and
Sorry.
so I have to deal with that. I have a lot of friends that have dealt with a whole bunch of things. And,
I admire that though.
and it's just
It's cool that your first thought though was how can I help other people?
Yeah.
How can I help other people in that system and actually use that to be an advocate? So that's honestly that's a really unique kind of cool way to
because we
deal with
didn't
what you're
talk
dealing
about
with.
that when I was 15 years old.
Right.
I mean, we talk about it now,
Right.
but things need to get better for that. I mean, because more people are in that position. I was kind of an outlier. There wasn't a lot of people that had that. Well, there was.
I wouldn't
quite a
talk
few,
about
right?
it. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of the big thing. That's why
Cool.
I'm okay, he's probably the best Canadian politician period of my lifetime.
Yeah.
Anyway. So,
He's actually trying to deliver for that full health care, for that full access.
And even dental, you think about dental, it's people just think, oh, it's your aesthetic, it's your teeth or whatever, but you get an infection in your mouth from your tooth, you can die from it. You can actually die from that, right? It's not likely, but it could happen. So
and reforming the current system to, I think, make it more equitable and more accessible.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been this complete dream that people have necessarily thought it would be.
Yeah.
So I get that. And then my question is, I feel like from an outsider's perspective, I'm visiting from the U.S., that he's actually delivered on the dental issue, on holding the feet to the fire in the pipeline. Do you want to see him remain as leader? I feel like he should, but what are your thoughts? We're kind of wait and see.
If there was a vote after and he didn't do well in this election, I would still vote for him if there was a choice between him and somebody.
Yeah, he's delivered it.
Just because of what I said earlier. It's just he was the person to do that, and it's I can't not want him to stay on his leader.
I get that, 100%. Well, good meeting you. She might be pulling me away, but you're awesome. Thanks for the good work.
Mind stopping this now?
Absolutely. That's lame. She kicks me out. Well, she didn't fully kick. Well, she says I can't talk to anybody, so I'm gonna sign off, and we'll connect when he speaks. But I got asked to not speak to people. Kind of lame.